conversation, our first conversation with Ismail Moola of the Palestine Solidarity Alliance. As I mentioned earlier on, tonight we'll be discussing this incident involving a Gaza-bound aid boat that was carrying Greta Thunberg and other activists, which was then stopped by Israeli forces. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah so much for joining us tonight.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Jazakallah for having us. We know and understand that the people of South Africa have the plight of the Palestinians very close to their heart. So Jazakallah for having us.
I mean, always a pleasure for having you join us to give us more insight on this incident in question. Now, my first question to you tonight, can you kindly provide us with the details of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition's mission and their motivation for attempting to deliver humanitarian aid to Gaza?
Yeah, so the Freedom Flotilla Coalition is a multi-country organization. We have 15 countries that are affiliated to us, and we've been attempting to break the siege of Gaza from 2008. Wow. You will know that the siege was initiated in 2007. So we've been trying right from that inception, 2008, every year, trying to break the siege of Gaza. In 2010, you would be aware that we had our ship, the Mavi Mamra, which was a huge ship and had 600 passengers on it. And of course, that ship was attacked. And sadly, 9 of our activists lost their lives. So the mission that we have is always one that is fraught with danger. And of course, we have our activists that are prepared to lay down their lives for a cause that they believe is unjust and against basic human requirements.
Now, we know that Israeli and their statements around why they would justify their actions is something that we shouldn't take from, face value, because we know at current there's claims that the boat was filled with, celebrities of that kind. Can you tell us, aside from Greta Thunberg, who else was on the who boarded the aid boat, and what were their roles in this humanitarian mission?
Remember, these are all activists. So even Greta is an activist. She's coming from a background of activism from Sweden, and she has the heart of Palestine in her heart. So, to say that she's a celeb is not really true. We have Rima Hassan, who is a member of the European Parliament. Again, she's a representative of the people of Europe. And to call her a celebrity also, I don't think so. It's fair. These are people that have the plight of the Palestinians in their heart. And therefore, to classify them as celebrity is not fair. We regard them as celebrities ourselves because they are prepared to sacrifice their lives for the betterment of other people. So there were many other activists on board. We had Yasmin Akar, which is from Germany. We have Baptiste Andre from France. We have Theoga Villa from Brazil. From Yanis Maid from France. Suaib Ordu from Turkey, Sergio Tobillo from Spain, Marco van Rensburg from Netherlands, and Riva Viat from France. Now, these are all representatives of the Freedom Flotilla Coalition. They are all members of our organization. And they are activists, normal people like me and you.
Now, with that being said, what reason or justification did the Israeli authorities give for this inception, and did they even offer any alternative, routes for delivering that aid in question?
We've been, as I mentioned to you earlier, we've been doing this for a very long time, and all of our boats have been intercepted in a very similar manner. The moment we come close to the 100 nautical mile shoreline of Gaza, we are intercepted. With the exception of Conscience. You are aware that last month, Conscience was attacked using drones 2,000 kilometers away. It was in a port of Malta. And that really cost a big dent in our plans because that was our main ship. It was carrying a lot more aid compared to what the Medellin is carrying. The Medellin was supposed to be a satellite ship with the Conscience. And that ship was disabled when it was attacked by drones a month ago. And yet our activists felt that it is still necessary for us to make a statement that the siege is illegal, and if countries that have bigger resources, that have more bigger ships, are not prepared to do anything to attempt to break the siege. We as ordinary people will do what we can within our small resources.
And with that being said, what are the humanitarian conditions at current in Gaza, and how would the delivery of this aid would have helped the people there?
Remember, our ship, this ship that we had, the Madeleine, is a very small ship. That is why it has only 12 people that it can take. So the aid that we have is more token. It's not going to do much in terms of what are the requirements that our people in Gaza need. You are aware that they are in a genocidal lifestyle and they have no access to water, they have no access to any kind of food, they have no access to basic human dignity. So our aim is to create an opportunity where other ships can follow us and bring bigger aid than what we were carrying.
And with that being said, would you say that the FFC plans on continuing its, efforts of, delivering aid to Gaza, or despite the setback that it's currently faced with? If so, what are the strategies to ensure safety of future missions?
We were hoping that on this particular mission, because we had a British flag, which is a strong flag, and we had an international parliamentarian in the name of Rima Hassan with us, and of course Greta Thunberg, who is also a well-known international activist. We were hoping that with all the publicity that we had, that Israel will yield. But sadly, this was not the case, and it wasn't anything that we were surprised about. We've expected this thing. Our people were trained for this, and if you've seen the videos, we are non-violent. When they boarded the boat, we had our hands up, and we just succumb to whatever they request. So we will continue as long as the siege is in place. And remember, we also have the ICJ ruling, which says that, aid needs to go to Gaza via all channels. So whether it's sea, whether it's air, whether it's land. But as you know, the reality is that everything is blocked at the moment.
And in your view, Mr. Moola, how would you describe this blockade in question? Is it justified, or do you believe it is an illegal form of collective punishment?
Even the United Nations has accepted that this is an illegal form of collective punishment, and there's no justification for it. The sad part is that the United Nations organ, the Security Council, has been vetoed every time by the US when these resolutions come up to act upon them. So the truth of the matter is that even though these are illegal things, Israel is not called to account for any of its actions. We had the attack on the conscience a month ago, and nothing has happened to it. That took place in international waters, yet all the governments of the world remain silent.
With that being said, and seeing that, the UN has already condemned Israel's action, what do you believe would really influence allowing aid into Gaza?
It's difficult for me to say, because if you look at what has been happening worldwide, the sad reality is that even the countries, the neighboring countries, are not even taking any decisive action to give some relief to the people of Palestine. It's going to be a very long process in order for us to get through this. Governments are not going to change. It's people on the ground that are going to make a difference, and that is where our stand lies.
And Mr. Moola, with that being said, what would be your call to action for our viewers at home who are watching, and just anyone who you would like to address in question?
Well, I think it's very important for us, number one, to highlight what is happening in Gaza, what is happening in Palestine, the suffering that is taking place there. And also, it is very important for us to become active in promoting the atrocities that are taking place there and becoming more vociferous in terms of our own actions. And it is very important that plays a critical role in our activism. We have an opportunity. We are so far away. It's very difficult for us to do much. But as South Africans, we can voice our support by being actively involved in boycotting those companies that are actively involved in supporting the Zionist regime.
Jazakallah so much, Mr. Moola, for joining us tonight and really giving us, insight in terms of what truly happened, as well as how we, as pro-Palestinians, can take action in supporting, our fellow brothers and sisters in Palestine who are in need of our assistance.
Absolutely. Jazakallah for having me, and inshallah, with your efforts and our efforts, Palestine will be free.
Viewers at home, that was Mr. Ismail Moola of the Palestine Solidarity Alliance, helping us gain understanding in terms of what truly transpired. As we know from now, anything that Israel says in defense to the atrocious action, it's something that we cannot take at face value. Hence, it's quite important for us to really speak and reach out to people who have close relations with efforts of trying to make it to Gaza, or just trying to ensure that they get humanitarian aid really accessible to those who are in Palestine at that. But viewers at home, hope you guys did enjoy this segment. But for now, let's head over to an ad break. We'll see you just after this.
My name is Greta Thunberg and I am from Sweden. If you see this video, we have been intercepted and kidnapped in international waters by the Israeli occupational forces or forces that support Israel. I urge all my friends, family and comrades to put pressure on the Swedish government to release me and the others as soon as possible.